here's a book. Here's a book that I have called Don't Leave It to the Kids. 5 strategies for seniors who own commercial real estate. And frankly, this book is only 50 pages. 50 pages. It's a booklet. It's a pamphlet. It's a beautiful leave behind for people who don't read emails or text, i.e., seniors who own commercial real estate. This is, again, as Greg said, put it in a format that they will understand this book. And Greg didn't know I was going to call him. I didn't know I was going to say that, but that's what it means. So are you communicating your container in a format that your audience will understand? If you just rely on email and text, maybe not, depending on your audience, right? So the gentleman who's really done an amazing job at this is Rich Vaaler. Rich, I don't see you. Where are you, buddy? There he is. Let me spotlight Rich. Okay. Spotlight on Rich. There you go. So, Rich, tell us about this. I'm going to add myself. Tell us about this. What is this? This whole idea.
That actually is a derivative of a phone call I had last January with a client or potential client who said, I'm not going to list my property and sell it. I'm going to leave it to the kids. And I didn't know what to say. So I mentioned that to my coach, James Bean, and he said, well, why don't you ask them if they even want the property, the kids, or what are they going to do if they don't have the money to take care of it? So all these ideas started popping in my head. And then I was, watching all of your shows and the podcast and the Massimo meetings. And I started thinking I need to create some content around this. So I started creating content pieces, social media pieces. And then I think you challenged me back in the spring and said, what's something you could do to really, move ahead? And that for me was writing a book. I've never written a book. And it is a booklet on purpose. It was, I started out with a much larger book with more strategies. And James said, no, seniors don't want to read a long book and they don't want 18 strategies. Make it 3 or 4. I made it 5. And it's in real simple format. It's a little repetitive. And all the guys, our peers, would go, I already know all this stuff. But my audience doesn't know that stuff. And
Stop. That was so good. Again, we assume as you all are great brokers or will become great brokers, that your audience knows what you do, and they don't. So continue, Rich.
So I wrote the book to kind of simplify. I created a process that anyone can do, which is to help senior owners of property sell the complex real estate that they own now and do a 1031 exchange into a single tenant net lease property. And I'll help them guide them into which type. They preserve all that wealth. They don't pay tax and leave that to their kids. So the essence of the book is don't leave your kids a mess. Don't leave it to your kids is don't leave a mess. Leave them something nice and easy to handle that they can manage and own or sell if they don't want to keep it. And so the process is just that I created a platform called Elder CRE. I named it that. I have a website called Elder CRE. I have hats if you want one, Elder CRE, hats. And so it's all about that whole process and helping them with strategies. Like I had a blog yesterday, if you have cash tied up in your property, refinance it now, pull the cash out. Don't hit your 401k and pay the tax, take some equity out of your property and then sell it into a 1031 exchange. So now you've got cash in your pocket, a single tenant net property. And when you pass on, your kids inherit that. And meanwhile, you can have a lot of money in your retirement, no hassles, no headaches, 1 check a month or however many you want. And I just created this whole thing around it. And you gave me the ideas and so did James Bean. And now I'm going to use the CRE launcher in about a week once our list is done. And I've got 1,800 owners that are 55 and older in my market that own office, retail, and warehouse. And they're going to get hammered. Emails, texts, but a lot of them don't read some of those. So they need a book or they need a mailer. They need a postcard. They're going to get a postcard. My mother-in-law, she reads the junk mail. She's 90. She doesn't get much mail. So if she gets junk mail, she reads it. My dad used to talk to wrong numbers on the phone because he wanted to talk to somebody. So it's really geared toward my audience who are over 55. And it's a combination of different materials and content that are going to get, emails and also their kids. I've got a whole segment designed to target their kids. So my age or younger, and those people are older.
Okay. So you lost me at over 55 being elderly, by the way.
Okay, over 65.
That's a different conversation. So, but So, Rich, you have this thing again, containers, right? And then the other day, I saw this again. So you have more than one container because help me with what is this? Same colors but different containers. So what are these three rings?
Okay, so after I read your book, Knowing Isn't Doing, you know the big thing about the Tyvek wrap. I went to the drawing board and I created lead magnets or content pieces for back then. My four avatars were landlords, tenants, sellers, or buyers. So if you go on my website, there's a piece that looks just like this for landlords. That's this one. It's a landlord guide. The three rings are how we find the ideal tenants for them, the people that they want, the people that want them, and the people that can afford them. And the intersection of those three rings are the ideal prospect list that we go after. But these are all guides I did from reading Knowing Isn't Doing. And so when you hit that button, you're sorry, but you're going to get 3 or 4 follow-up emails. It's a sales funnel. Again, you taught me all that, and it's all written in the same style that Miller talks about, that we did this so that you can, and it's all the pieces are written in that style. They need to be updated. But that's on my other website, which is more my brokerage website for landlords, tenants, buyers, and sellers.
And what I love about this, I mean, this is, folks, you all need to start doing this in 2025. And we're going to help you with some tools that we're building on the launcher platform, the landing pages, which that is, right? Then the follow-up emails. So I of course subscribe to this and I'm getting the emails from the three rings. I'm getting emails, reminders, right? Which I love because this is what marketing is. This is automated marketing that you sit back and let it work, right? This is why we built the launcher, by the way, right? You sit back and let it work. So this is perfect stuff. So before I go deeper, anyone have any questions? Put in the chat box. Anyone have any questions for Rich on building his container and what he's doing and how he's creating landing pages and email follow-ups? Because you all should be doing this. It's just say, I have a question, and just put it in the chat box and we'll get to you. And I can't see everyone because we're spotlighted. So if you're raising your hand, I can't see you. That's the problem.
And I'm okay if anybody wants to take that material and put their own logos. It's not, um, I mean, I don't care. Massimo, people can take my stuff and, work with the three rings concept or the buyer broker concept.
Greg, you're up. Greg Cohen, what's up?
Rich, just give us an idea of how you went about timing wise, right? So this took how many months? How did you break it down each week? Like the allotment of time, just so that we don't get so overwhelmed by, shit, I can't write a book, right? Just give me sort of a little bit of a framework.
Well, with the book, what I started back in, I think April or May, and I time blocked, and I have a block on my calendar, 1 hour every week that just says Elder CRE. And so I would sometimes on the weekend, but sometimes in the evening, I would work on the book and I would do drafts of it and drafts of it, outline, put it in ChatGPT, pull it back out. But I only spent about a week at a time. And then toward the end, I wanted to really get it done before Massimo Con because I gave some out there. And so I spent more time toward the end, finalizing, I had a couple people read it. I had my mother-in-law read it to make sure she's 90, to make sure it made sense to her. And but at the end, I put more time in, but only about an hour a week. And then the same with the content pieces. I have a calendar that I put on there, social media, block time, prospecting time every day. And my coach helped me with that. And that, for someone who's not that organized, that changed my life. That one little simple thing has changed everything for me. And so that enabled me to get it all done.
Thanks, Rich. Congratulations.
Another big lesson here, folks. He said he took his marketing piece and he gave it to someone in a focus group and said, "Does this make sense?" Right? So his 90-year-old mother-in-law. By the way, she's sharp as a tack. For those who haven't met her, I've met her a couple of occasions, and she was at MassimoCon of all things. So I mean, the woman is sharp as hell, but she's 90 years old. If she can understand what he wrote, that means it's likely that his audience can understand what they wrote, right? So are you using focus groups and samples of your audience to get out your marketing message? Or are you just saying, let's see what happens? Rich, Tom asked, well, couldn't you just write that book using chat? And you can't. The answer is yes. You could have written the book using ChatGPT. Absolutely. But why didn't you?
Well, because if you do that, it's going to look like ChatGPT. And I did use it for drafts. And so I would write a bunch of material and put it in there and it'd make it sound a little better, but then I'd have to go back and make sure it sounded like me. and then it didn't make mistakes. It didn't say, hey, go buy a 1031, train ticket to New York or something weird. I didn't want that, just put that in and spit it out the wrong thing. And so I did use it as a tool, but I did not write it with just ChatGPT.
Love
But
it.
it can help you. Yeah.
Yeah, it can. Anyone have any other questions for Rich? What type of lead gen software platform are you using? So what are you using for putting out the landing page and the automated emails?
Well, right now I just got my website done the week before Massimo Con. That's called eldercre.com. And right now they have the book on there. It's one you can scroll through and read. That's going to be changed to where you download a copy and fill out a form. And that's in HubSpot. That's what I have on that website. But I'm really excited about using the CRE launcher. And this isn't a commercial, but I cannot wait. As soon as I get my list back, end of this week, that's going to go out with the material, the prospecting material for the book, and then I'll give it out for free right now because, like you said, it's a leave behind. I don't plan to sell it. I mean, I don't know what I would charge, but I want to give it out for free. And so they're going to get postcards in the mail. CRE Launcher is going to do emails and text, and then I'll do phone calls and follow up with that.
Rich, Nick asked, what's been I mean, you haven't given enough market proof yet to understand if this is working or not?
I don't have any
client feedback at all?
I've had a lot of feedback, but I don't have any listings yet. And I've sent it to other brokers like John Hipp at Avison Young. He's a super guy and tenant triple net leases. He's a longtime friend of mine. He said, "Can you send me 10 more books? I want to give them out to my clients." So the feedback from my colleagues has been good, and I've getting some of my wife's patients, dental patients. They're 65, 75. I've given them books. They've asked me for it. I don't have a listing yet because of it, but on Thursday, I'm meeting with a client who's over 80 years old in Virginia. He has $17 million portfolio that he's probably going to hire us to sell. His wife wants to sell it. He wants us to manage it. He's like, I like doing this. So one way or the other, we're going to get the account. And we gave him the very first copy of the book. I took it to Staples. It was this big. It was 11 by 17. And his wife said, now see, Larry, that's what we got to do. We got to do what Rich said in that book. So I think we're going to get the one this week, but and it was his wife. She said, I'm going to leave it out for the kids to see at Christmas time too, so they can scare the hell out of them because the title is a little scary.
Yeah, leave it out at Christmas time so my kids can see it. That I love.
If you're the kid, if you're one of the kids, it's a little scary.
Coach Brian McCann wants to know, are you also leveraging your network, like sending it to financial advisors so they can refer you, and accountants and estate
Yes.
planners?
Yep, I've given it out to a couple attorneys who say they practice elder law in Florida and Virginia. I have a lunch meeting when I get back with an elder law practice here in the Treasure Coast. I've given out to several financial planners, and that's also part of my distribution list is going to be bank lenders, insurance companies, financial planners, accountants, CPAs. They're all going to get a copy. My CPA is going to get a copy. So yeah, because they're giving advice to those people that own the property.
Yeah,
And
again, great comments, folks. But that's how you leverage a book to get, and then again, 50 pages, and by the way, it's in text that any elderly person can read. Okay, he's trying to focus on the book. So understand, this is in big ass font text with pictures. So this is probably a 25 page book for a real book. It is. It doesn't matter. That's the audience. That's the beauty of this. So
it's like when you write those reports in high school and you make them extra pages because But anyway, it only costs about $4.50 a copy to publish on Lulu. I use Lulu to publish it. I order 100 at a time. And if anybody wants a copy, just email me. I'll send you one.
So everyone understand what you just said. $4.50 per book. Even at Massimo, to us to get a lead on Google, Facebook, LinkedIn is not as well. It costs around $100 and $150 a lead. To us to get a book call on Google and Facebook costs around $330 a booked call. So put these marketing elements into perspective, right? $450, you send it out, maybe it costs you $7 or $8 for postage. Total. You do it media mail, Guys, you're
Here's
getting,
the other, here's the BHAG, Rod. You always talk about a BHAG. So I talked to my coach about this and he said, well, hold on, Tiger. My BHAG is to license this to possibly other Massimo members in other markets. I talked to some at MassimoCon who want to be an elder CRE broker and use this material. I'll train them on what I know. They can use all the content. And on my website, if I get leads into my central website, I can refer to someone in Houston or Kentucky or Florida and say, hey, I got a lead that not my state. Will you take this lead and send me a referral fee? How cool is that? If I get that to spread out nationally, then your coaching has worked.
okay, so here's first of all, I freaking love it. I love it. And not just Massimo members, but other clients as you need them, right? But let's stick to Massimo members. And Massimo members are gonna hate me for this. But if I was doing this business model, I love it, right? And one of our other clients is doing this right now, and it's working. I would charge the fellow brokers a licensing fee, right? Plus a referral fee on what they get. And with the licensing fees, that would not be profit to me. It be go straight out to Google ads, and I promote Siri Elderly nationally on Google ads using the licensing fees. So it's not out of pocket cost to you. And then I turn around and say, now I got all these freaking leads, and that all becomes a wealth machine for you, right?
Yep.
So that's, if you want to monetize it, that's how I would monetize it, Rich. Don't use the licensing fees as profit. Use it as to feed the marketing.
Well, I did the business model in ChatGPT, and that's what it said: $500 licensing fee a month, which may be a lot, plus a percentage referral fee, and all that money would go to training, marketing, promoting. 100% of that would go into developing that, and then the leads would come into a central a website, and then go back out to the licensees. So that might be, something for next year.
Well, let's look. We got a focus group right here. Here's the question, and be honest. Just say hell no, right? Forget the number right now. But if you had access to this platform, right? Maybe it's not what you do, right? But if you had access to this platform, and by the way, Rich, you and I did not discuss this, correct? Right? Not at all. But I'm just thinking, this is focus group. Would you pay a licensing fee to use this in your marketplace? And Rich would coach you on how to do it and the program and what's involved, and you have all the marketing materials. This is like a franchise almost. You think about it, but franchise you can't do. But yes or no? Just say yes or no in the forget the price. The price doesn't matter. Would you just and be honest? Yes or no? Would you do this right in your market if Rich said I'm going to show you how to do this, right? Just everyone, just go ahead and do it. And say no. Say no. I get it. Let me tell you, older people matter. They do. They have money and they have property.
Well, they're really underserved, and they're growing. The population of elderly people is growing. We all are. So I thought that was a good avatar to pick.
Yeah. And Rich, we'll work with James and everyone. We'll figure out the model, right? The financial model. But when you all think about, I just had a call yesterday, believe it or not, with another client, calling on Sunday because he was thinking about a passive income machine, and I love these models, so we talked about it, and I said, that model would only work if you feed growing the company to other things. Mostly licensing fees aren't for profit; they're for feeding the growth of a company. In many cases, they are.
That's
right?
how I look at it. I mean, I look at the referral feedback to me as something that would be of value, and the client relationship would be in their market. So I'm not in Houston, I'm not in LA, I'm not in New York or whatever. So
Yeah.
I get the leads, and sometimes they're in New York and they have a property in Florida, so we go back and forth like that. So
But imagine, Richard, probably look. Our budget for Google, and it's a much smaller audience than yours, but our budget for Google is, I think Google alone is 10 a month. I think 10,000 a month, and Facebook maybe 5 a month. LinkedIn, I don't know what it is. So say we're investing 15 to 20,000 a month in ads, in true targeting ads. So, and I told the other group this. My return on Google ads is 14 to 1 in the first year. 14 to 1. Okay. So that's a pretty damn good return. I'll do that all day long. But because it's a limited audience, you can't spend more than $10,000 on commercial real estate brokers. You lose your money. So imagine, Richard, you did this and used that money to feed the Google machine, how many leads you would get and the return. That's what I'm thinking. I'm talking to all of you, not just Rich here. How you can think about monetizing things beyond brokerage, beyond the fees, to create more wealth and success generator there, right? So Rich, hey guys, let's all give it up for Rich. Give him a heart, give him a love, give him a congratulations. Way to grow, Rich.